name is Kevin J. Johnston from freedomreport.ca. Thank you. I'll repeat a little bit of what I said 2 weeks ago. Yes, I am the guy that they put in maximum security prison for criticizing the Liberal Party's handling of COVID. All right. Why would they do that? To frighten me, to take the smile off my face. They've put me in court 143 times in 3 years for the offense of speaking against the Liberal government. Why? To take this smile off my face. It's not going anywhere, Canada. And I see all of you smiling too, and that's exactly what they fear. So what I want to talk about right now are some more of the rights that perhaps you don't know that you have, and to take away some of the rights that city staff think that they have over you. You may know that I'm an investigative journalist and a big mouth. And what I do is I make sure that anyone that threatens me is uncomfortable. I don't hit them, I don't swear at them, I don't insult them. But I look into everything they say. Toronto bylaws and Mississauga bylaws and every single bylaw in every town in the province are working off of the same template where they say you shall wear a mask. That is archaic language that says optional. What they're doing is telling everybody here that you shall wear it, but we're going to use language that sounds official, so you are afraid. Don't listen to it. It's nonsense. It's a lie. Now, I've spent the last month calling every bylaw office in Southern Ontario from Niagara Falls to Oshawa to ask a simple question. Do bylaws pertain to citizens of the city or just to staff of the city in which that bylaw is written? Not a single one of them has an answer. I have the answer. The answer is it pertains to those who work for the city or have a contract with the city, but not to the rest of us. A bylaw is something that a corporation writes. Cities in Canada are corporations. They work as tax collectors for the provinces in which they are in, which is why every time someone gets a ticket for not wearing a mask, that ticket gets thrown out of court. The courts know it's a lie. They don't want to get sued themselves, so they throw everything out. And what you walk out of the courtroom with is a sigh of relief saying, oh, I didn't have to pay that ticket. No, that's not where it ends, everyone. Now what you do is you say, thank you for throwing out this bogus ticket, this illegal ticket. Now I'm going to sue the city and the province for allowing this to happen. That's what you do. Collectively, I see a lot of faces here. If each and every one of you filed a small claim against the government of Ontario and your local residents, all of you, that would be, I can see 2,000 lawsuits right now, plus the lawsuits all your friends and family are going to file. We can bankrupt individual politicians. That is our plan, because that's what they're doing to us. Social distancing tickets. What are they? When they give you the ticket, they have to quote which law it is that they are writing the ticket for. If it's a bylaw, it's nothing. You fight it on the spot. And if you feel like it, if you want to go a little bit further, which I'm trying to do myself, but unfortunately bylaw officers know who I am and don't come near me. But if a bylaw officer says, you do what I say or I'm going to take money from you, that's extortion. That is a federal crime. What the Americans call a felony, what we call an indictable offense. Make a citizen's arrest on the spot for extortion, call the police and have them finish off the arrest. We are not going to put up with bylaw officers anymore. I've gone to half of the homes of the bylaw officers in Mississauga, and do you know what happens when you go there to drop off a legal letter saying you're banned from my property? Oh, look at the eyes. Fear. How did you find me? You can't be here. You're trespassing. Hey, they don't like it. It terrifies them. We all need to do this to them all of the time until this lie is over. I want to remind everybody that back in the 1970s, they guaranteed us that there was going to be a new ice age. What happened? 5 years later, they said we were going to have global warming. We weren't afraid to that. That generation was far too clever, so they tried acid rain. That didn't work. So then they tried AIDS. They told us if you hold hands, if you kiss, if you get into big crowds like this, you're going to get AIDS and die. I'm 49 years old. I first heard about that nonsense when I was 17. I don't know a single human being that has AIDS. They're doing it now with COVID-19. I don't know a single human being that has COVID-19. And nor do any of you. Now, what is COVID-19? It has 5 different designations in Canada. Do you know why that is? Because they don't know what it is. The federal government says it's a disease that you catch from the SARS virus, from CoV-2 SARS. Peel Region and Toronto say that it's actually the virus. Hospitals say that it's just a political designation and we're calling it novella coronavirus. It's not been isolated. Nobody knows what this thing is, but our politicians are making it seem like they know. We know they don't. I have been fighting this for a very long time. And it's the fear in their eyes, in the government's eyes, it's showing now more than ever. To arrest Chris Sky, to arrest Brian Burke, to arrest me, to arrest Derek Story and everybody else that they've arrested just for telling the truth, tells us that our politicians are afraid of the truth getting out. So much so that it was known that I'm releasing a book on masks. It's actually called Masks Are Bullshit. The police came to my door and said, don't release it. Why? Because Bonnie Crombie, the mayor of Mississauga, is terrified of what's in there about her. Because John Tory's afraid of what's in there about him. Because Doug Ford doesn't want the truth about the lie of COVID getting out to anyone. The mask that you wear, everyone, has holes that are huge. If you take the virus and blow it up to the size of a grapefruit at 10 centimeters, the hole in your mask is the length of a basketball court plus 20 more feet. Think about that. If you take that scale, that mask is going to be 670 miles wide. Now put a face into that mask and have that face sneeze grapefruit-sized viruses. How many grapefruits are going to be stopped by holes that are longer than a basketball court? It's all a lie. It's meant to control your mind. It's meant to make you passive. And I love you, Toronto, for not putting up with it any longer. Rise up, everybody. When we have facts, when we are armed to the teeth with facts, and we are armed with each other, just the simple support of being able to hug and kiss and hold hands, that is a power that they fear. You remember the book 1984 where it was illegal to hold hands and kiss? Why? Because that brought people together. People who are in situations when they can do what is human have more power than those who are trying to oppress them. This is power. What we have right now is power, and I want all of us to make sure that we, now and forever, will keep our power and mock our politicians, sue our politicians, and arrest our politicians when the time is right, and that time is now! Rise up!
Thank you very much. So glad to be back in Toronto. It starts feeling a little bit like home. I am glad to see you all. It is absolutely wonderful. What a wonderful privilege we have to be together. The Lord is on my side. I will not fear. What can man do unto me? Nonviolent resistance works by constraining their options. It was said that engaging a threshold of 3.5% of the population has never failed to bring about change. Folks, we don't need everybody before we can do something. To bring a change about takes actually a small percentage of people, but we gotta believe in what we're doing and be passionate about it. Nobody wants dead religion. Nobody wants dead Christianity. Nobody wants a dead rally. Nobody wants dead protesters. We know what we want. We know what we're after. We don't have to wait. If we said we need a 3.5 percentage of the population, we'd be asking we're 1.3 million people. We don't have to wait for 1.3 million people. The people are waiting on us to see what we're going to do. We don't have to wait for a majority. We don't have to wait for 19 million people to make our voices heard. Courage, brother and sister. Courage. We're standing for what we need to stand for. Civil resistance by ordinary members of the public trumped the political elite to achieve radical change. And if we ever needed radical change, we need radical change now. It was said that it takes as little as 1% of the population to bring about change. Well, that brings us to 375,000 people. Well, looking at what happened here last Saturday, I say it doesn't take much more. But you know what? I got more good news for you. It gets better. One man with God is the majority. One Daniel changed the king's decree. One Gideon with 300 men conquered the Midianites. One Elijah caused the prophets of Baal to fall on their knees and say, "The Lord, He is God. The Lord, He is God." Took one man, one Elijah. As you can tell, I am encouraged. I don't feel any defeat. We've got to move on. Only a boy named David, only a little sling. But he said, "I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied." When they're talking about closing churches, you know what that means? That means defying God. And when you defy God, you deal with a little boy named David. And when David looked at the armies, and when David looked at Goliath, he didn't go by size. He wasn't intimidated. He says, "I've tackled worse things than this." And we are staying open. We need more prayer, not less. No matter where you are from, no matter what your age, no matter what your language, no matter what your background, we are one human family. I look at my family here this morning. These are my brothers and my sisters. We're one human family. We are all really speaking with one voice as this human family, and we are saying these are our God-given freedoms. Is not a good choice of words for freedom people. I said lockdown is not a good choice of words for freedom people. Lockdown divides a family. Lockdown kills the family. Our God-given freedom is ours, not theirs to take it away from us. And folks, not just freedom to go to church, freedom to live, freedom to breathe. Excuse me, I have freedom, God-given freedom to breathe the God-given oxygen. Freedom to enjoy life, freedom to smile, freedom to shake hands, freedom to give a hug. That's God-given freedom. Freedom to shake hands, freedom to hug, freedom to laugh. How are you going to laugh with a mask on? I can't figure out if you're mad. I can figure out if you're happy. Let's take the mask off and laugh. God-given freedom to smile so we can show you our teeth and laugh and be happy. God-given freedom to be one big happy family. God bless you. Wow.
I've been wanting to do this one for a while. A little nervous to do it, but you know what? You can't be nervous when it comes to your safety and your life and your freedom. You just gotta go for it and say what's in your heart. On May 30th at Queen's Park, I said that eventually, quote, eventually the police will support us because we're fighting for them too. With the recent actions last week of retired veteran Quebec police officer Maxime Ouellette, and with just yesterday in Alberta another police officer who's taken a side with freedom, it has now begun. I pray to God Officer Ouellette's example will resonate with our great law enforcement officers that are here and across the country, and even our military, our great Canadian soldiers. I pray his example will help you to remember why you all became law enforcement. To remember when you were children with dreams of being a police officer to fight against injustice. To remember and realize that you got to chase your dreams and make it a reality to be a police officer. Like we all get to chase our dreams in this country, this wonderful country. But your children, our children, your children's children, our children's children. Dreams is all they will ever have if these criminals in power succeed. At some point, likely very soon, you'll probably end up having to make the most important decisions of your lives. You'll have to choose tyranny or humanity. And whichever side you choose, it's important to remember that laws will be broken on either side. This is important to remember. Do you enforce the illegal, unconstitutional laws and mandates of the criminals in power that destroy our lives and our country and your lives and your children's lives? Or do you uphold the good, just laws, the Canadian Constitution and the Charter designed to safeguard ours and yours basic human rights and freedoms? The good news is that it's not really a difficult decision because it is literally a choice between good and evil. However, acting on that decision is far more difficult. I can't understand how difficult a position they put you in. I feel for you, I really do. I really do. I have the utmost respect for our law enforcement officers. I have all my life. You know? But I know it's really hard to act on the decision. So I'm going to share with you a little piece of forgotten history to perhaps help you and all of our Canadian soldiers and those around the world even. In fact, what happened was, it was Christmas Eve on 1914. Have you ever heard about that? Probably not. This is one of the greatest examples of humanity that I've ever heard of, and I'm going to share it with you. It was Christmas Eve 1914 on the front lines of the Western Front during World War I, which had already claimed more than 1 million lives. The guns had stopped on Christmas Eve in some parts of the Western Front. And some soldiers put up some Christmas trees with burning candles. And then you started to hear very faintly in the distance on opposite sides of no man's land, in the trenches, they started to hear Silent Night being sung. And then something happened. The other soldiers started to sing too. Oh, this is something, sorry. The other soldiers started to sing too. And then in the morning of Christmas Day, guess what happened? One of the soldiers put down his guns. He took off his helmet and he stood up slowly. rally, scared to death, and went like this. And guess what happened then? A soldier from the other side, a German soldier, he got up slowly. They were nervous. At first they pulled their guns because, you know, it's the opposite side. They all got their guns ready. But then one of the German soldiers realized what was happening, and he put down his gun and he did the same thing. And they got up and they walked to the middle of no man's land, in the middle of World War I. And they started to shake hands. And then they started to give each other some gifts. What little they had, they gave some chocolate or some various things they had to the opposing side. Both sides did this. And then you know what happened? They started to show each other pictures of their children and their loved ones. And they realized, what the hell are they doing sitting here trying to kill each other when all they want to do is be with their families? They even played a game of soccer. Yeah, they found this from diaries they found from soldiers from World War I. Now, could you imagine these soldiers on both sides? They're at war. They're fighting a war for who? Wealthy elites and governments. That's what they were fighting. They weren't fighting for themselves. They were just sent out there to fight and kill each other for some wealthy elites, just like they're going to try to do today. Unfortunately, it only lasted that one day because they started to hear firing and artillery in the other various parts of the Western Front. Oh yeah, and there was one soldier, a young soldier, who was very upset with them at the time. His name was Adolf Hitler. Yeah, of course he'd be upset. Why is this important? Why did I share this story with our fellow officers and to talk to all the soldiers around the world? Because they're pitting us against each other. But we're on the same side. This is important because these people in the war were just normal people. They just wanted to live their lives in peace, support for their families, and raise their children and have the freedom. For one moment, their hearts said one thing: no. That's what those soldiers did that one day. They said no. And today we're here to say no. I am not going to fight. I'm not going to go and put my life on the line for a bunch of wealthy elites who want to take my God-given rights away. Now, I know my fellow police officers, we need you. And I tell you, I know that in your profession you probably see the worst sides of society. And perhaps maybe even become jaded and may have lost your faith in humanity. I really wouldn't blame you if I saw that kind of stuff every day. But in such an environment, it's easy to forget that the vast majority of the population are just average law-abiding citizens who just want to live a normal life. Free. We need you to be true to the blue, serve and protect what you know is right and true. All of us here have ignited the flames of freedom, but with you, those flames will change to blue, and we will be hot enough to cut through anything that gets in the way of our God-given rights to live free. Please do not be the spear of tyranny, but the shield of humanity. Don't be their boots, the globalists. Don't be their boots of oppression, but the hand of protection. Because I know you are, and I know that's what you want. Please, arrest the criminals in power for their egregious crimes against humanity so Parliament and the courts can reopen and prosecute all of these people involved. And I tell you, your actions, if that happens, they will echo across the world. Echo like a shot across the bow of the globalist oppressors. You will be heroes. Heroes. I really hope when the time comes you'll choose to be with us, and I think you will, because you have hearts, and you have children, and you want them to live and be free. Of course, the first stepping stone is to get rid of those symbols of oppression, those masks. I tell you, one day, could you imagine what that would be like if one day, just for a brief moment, all the police officers took off their masks? Could you imagine the power of a statement like that? Oh my God! That would send a shockwave of hope to all corners of the earth and terrifying those seeking to enslave all of us in their technological chains. What a statement that would be. Well, I pray the day I get to see that day. You know. Okay, I've been talking a lot. It really comes down to this. We need you. We need you. We need all of you. We need our soldiers. We need the Canadian soldiers. We need all the soldiers around the world to know that you can't let these globalists pit you against your own people. Don't let them do it. And let's be like those soldiers in 1914. They were enemies, but they saw at the end of the day, they were human beings. They were human beings, and may God let that unite us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.